Wednesday, April 27th, 2016, John Todd called the Martin County Sheriff's Office to report that his sister, Tricia Todd, was missing. She hadn't picked up her daughter, Faith, from the babysitter that day, which was highly unusual for her. When deputies arrived at the residence where Tricia was living, the scene inside her house appeared normal. Nothing was ransacked and nothing seemed suspicious. However, her vehicle was parked across from her residence, not in its usual spot. Inside the vehicle, the police found her purse and keys left on the passenger seat, but her cell phone and wallet were nowhere to be found. The deputies initiated a BOLO, be on the lookout for a missing person. Tricia occasionally left her house in the middle of the night to walk on the beach. To get to that area from her home, she had to pass through some of the rougher parts of town. The detectives suspected that she might have gone off for a late-night swim and possibly drowned, but they weren't sure. All they had at that moment was speculation. That night, the deputies contacted Tricia's brother and asked him who she was with last. Mr. Todd indicated that her ex-husband, Mr. Williams, was in town and was likely the last person with her. When the police reached out to Stephen over the phone, he explained that he had come to town for the week to visit his daughter, which was a common occurrence. Stephen Williams, who had previously served in the Air Force and had no criminal history, cooperated fully with the investigators and came across as a gentle, laid-back individual. Tricia had custody of her daughter, Faith, and Stephen was able to see Faith whenever he wanted. He visited Tricia and Faith that week in April. He drove down from the base in North Carolina and got an Airbnb in Florida. That day, the 26th of April, Tricia left Faith with him for the evening. The next day, Tricia was due to collect Faith from the babysitter and go to work, but she didn't show up. As Stephen was reportedly the last person to see Tricia alive, he was invited to the interrogation room at Martin County Sheriff's Office for a formal interview. Stephen told detectives that he went and picked his daughter up from the babysitter. There was a point that night, close to midnight, where his daughter, Faith, started to get fussy, so he sent Tricia a text message.
So I texted her, like, hey, baby, super fuzzy, I know it's late, but if you're up kind of thing, like, would you mind coming to comic or whatever? And then she was text back, like, on my way. Awesome. So, a few minutes go by, she comes over, she sits with Faith. Faith is happy now. 12:30, 1 o'clock by now. Probably at a minute. Yeah. She leaves, Faith is asleep, and then, well, she doesn't leave, actually, since her car's out of gas. Which, that really frustrates me. That's her thing. Her car never has gas in it.
The story's changing, brother.
There's a gas station on the street, and I was like, you know what, gas stations, gas cans, you got any money, I'll just drive my car, I'll go get you a gas can, some gas, no big deal. So she gives me a 20, I leave, the gas station's maybe a half mile down. Get the gas can, pay for it, get 2 gallons of gas, leave, put the gas in her car, and then I told her good night, basically. I'll contact you tomorrow, or you can call me or whatever. That's it. Next day, Faith wakes up. I take her to Walmart. And I messaged her that day after getting no reply. Straight to voicemail. I'm like, that's annoying. I don't want to stay here all day. Like, I don't like driving at night. So I was like, you know what? I'll just take her to Denise. That's where I picked her up from anyway, and that's who normally watches her.
Stephen's assertion is that he left his child with the babysitter and headed back home. Detectives found this scenario puzzling, as it raised concerns regarding why a father would leave town without knowing the mother's whereabouts.
What do you think happened to her? I don't know. It would be like 1 in the morning or 3 in the morning, and she'd be like, oh, I wanted to go for a walk. She would say, like, I want to talk with God. But it's like, at 2 in the morning, you're just going to be walking the neighborhood by yourself. Like, you don't even have, like, some pepper spray. You don't have your phone. Like, is she that kind of person that's oblivious to that stuff? She's always had that, like, God will protect me thing going on. Like, nothing will happen to me. I'm a child of God. Thinking, like, that's good to have that kind of faith. But it gets to a point where, like, let's be reasonable here. Like, the people still die every day. There are times in life where
Can't be
things happen
oblivious.
that we wish we could take back. And if this scenario that's involving you is a scenario where you either accidentally, intentionally, I don't know, did something, now's the time to tell us. I still care about her, I just don't want to be with her. That's right.
Uh-oh.
Tonight, the effort to find a missing Hobe Sound mother continues. Tricia Todd was reported missing on Wednesday.
We don't want to miss something.
Sheriff William Snyder says there's no timetable to call off the search, not ruling anything out at this time.
So we don't have any evidence of a crime, but we have very suspicious circumstances under which she's missing.
Over 60 volunteers joined a team of deputies to thoroughly search the rugged Florida scrub brush near Tricia's home. The police were tirelessly searching every possible location, hoping to find any clues about. While talking to Tricia's family, detectives learned some very disturbing facts about Stephen's past and his behavior. Investigators
suspicious.
not only found evidence that Stephen had killed Tricia's puppies, but also uncovered a troubling history.
Hold on. How you gonna have your husband kill your puppies? That's insane. Nah, we breaking up over there. You're gone. Your history.
Although never officially charged or convicted, Stephen had been arrested for domestic violence against Tricia. Her mother recalled a shocking incident where Stephen had punched her in the stomach while she was pregnant, horrifyingly hoping for a miscarriage. While thoroughly going through the timeline of events, detectives found a hole in Stephen's story. One of the neighbors reported that they saw Stephen leaving in Tricia's car, a detail Stephen failed to mention in his interview. The investigators were certain of one thing. Tricia's car, initially found at her home in the morning, was clearly out of place. The task at hand was to uncover evidence, leading the investigators to collect footage from surveillance cameras at nearby businesses.
They should have knew it was an immediate red flag when his story wasn't making sense, as well as he has a history of liking to kill things. Like, you kill puppies, you punch your pregnant wife in the stomach hoping for a miscarriage. What is going on? Like, now you're the forefront of our investigation, 'cause that's crazy. Violation.
Upon closer examination, the footage revealed something startling. Tricia's car had left her residence, raising red flags. What made this particularly perplexing was Stephen's earlier statement claiming she hadn't left until around 2 a.m. Yet the video footage showed her car cruising down US 1 at 1 a.m. All eyes turned to Stephen as a potential driver. If he had indeed taken her car, he would have had to trek back home on foot. After reviewing footage from 3 different cameras, they identified a figure that matched Stephen's description. In the dimly lit background, they could just barely make out a person with a distinctive gait. This individual seemed to be walking from the vicinity of Tricia's residence to the north of US 1 in the early morning hours. This revelation marked a significant breakthrough in the investigation.
Oh, you're cooked, brother. You're fried chicken.
The detectives decided to confront Stephen with this newly found evidence. He was called into the police station for yet another interview.
The neighbor saw you leaving her car. He saw you going back and forth. You recognize this area here?
That's the entrance to the community, isn't it?
Yeah, one way in, one way out.
The detectives didn't share the video CCTV footage with Stephen because its poor quality made it inconclusive, giving him the opportunity to deny it was him and claim it could have been someone else. The strategy they had was not to show him the video, but was to show him the locations of where the video cameras were facing.
So we see her pulling in, 12:08.
At the time you said she came over.
Perfect. 1:20, there goes her car coming out. A couple minutes later, that same car, her car, makes the U-turn right here. Okay?
And that.
We see the car coming back in here. So literally went towards her house, came back. Why is that?
Home and didn't go home. You know the cameras get footage of the sidewalk all the way up US 1.
And people on foot also. Around 4 in the morning.
4 in the morning. I'd be asleep by then.
You sure, buddy?
I did tell you that that camera, that computer plays, is HD.
It's you walking.
The detective was aware of Stephen's narcissistic tendencies, so she leveraged this knowledge and strove to establish a connection with him by portraying Tricia in a negative manner.
You got a lot going for you. You're good looking, you're young, you got straight, and you got this crazy ex. She's come after you before.
They real slick with it.
Did she come after you that night? Something happened. And you were just, oh, what do I do now?
No, she never came after me. Nothing.
It's an overwhelming amount of evidence pointing at you. So help me continue painting this picture of you. I just need to know where she's at, Steven.
I don't know where she is.
You don't even know where she's at.
I don't. I really don't.
I need you to work with me. I need to tell them that you're being 100% honest with me.
First time I left,
Okay?
she asked me to go back and get her laptop so she can keep working. I said, okay, you don't make it here. She's happy. So that you don't have to leave. And she freaks out. I'll go.
Okay.
So I leave.
Makes sense.
She's hard. There we have it. Yeah. And I'm thinking I can make it, but it doesn't look like it. I just turn around and go back. And she's back. She was on the floor. And she was embarrassed after that. And I got freaked out. And I'm like, oh my God, now she's lying on the floor. She's not responsive. And this looks really bad. Because I can't explain. And all I'm thinking is, I don't know why you're doing this to me when...
Now your story has completely taken a 180. Completely. You're adding in details about you taking her car, coming back, going to get a laptop, you come back, she's dead. Come on now, brother. They're not stupid. They do this all day, every
I've
day.
done nothing but try to be a good person to you. So I
Mm-hmm.
just put in the car, and I'm just driving and thinking.
Thought you don't know where she is,
She
though.
passed away in that car. It was nothing you did to her. She just passed away. And then you freaked out even more. Is that fair to say? Did you just lay her down somewhere? Out in the open?
Let her lay there, so peaceful. You're just lying there, you're breathing shallow. I can't call.
Steven,
I don't know where the hell I am.
we had already determined that she had passed while she was in the car. You can't go backwards. Tell me she was shallow breathing.
Shallow. Really shallow.
In a sudden
Not
turn of
making
events,
sense.
Stephen admitted that Trisha had passed away in his car. Subsequently, he chose to dispose of her body on the side of the road. However, he then recalled his admission, realizing what he had implicated himself in, and retracted his statement by claiming that Trisha was, in fact, still alive, as she was exhibiting signs of breathing.
I was hoping she would just snap out of it. Come back.
Mind you, this is all coming from someone who killed her dog, punched his pregnant wife, Patricia, in the stomach while she was pregnant. And now he's retracting statements. He's adding pieces of information. Like, brother, you're fried at this point. They know it was you. They just got to get it out of you.
I just changed. They didn't want anything to do with it.
Why'd you change?
Where did you change your clothes?
It
Yeah.
was right there. Threw the whole bag away. I didn't ask for this. I just wanted to come spend some time with my daughter. I don't know what's going on. I just don't know anything.
She was in here and she was playing this way.
Was this carpet here?
And all I thought was, this is some kind of like trick. This is some kind of like ploy to get back at me or to mess things up for me.
How long was she on the floor before you decided to check her or do something with her?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I just,
What did you do with her?
I just put her in the court. I didn't know what I should do at that point.
The investigators were
Call
convinced that
911?
Stephen was performing an
What?
elaborate act, pretending to be upset and crying, though no tears were shed. Despite this, the detectives had to maintain the charade for a while, allowing him to believe he was in control. Then they advised him that the best course of action was to lead them to the place where he had left her peacefully. He agreed to do so.
Crying with no tears for me.
We're going to go south on US 1.
None of this seems familiar. None of this seems like
So have we gone too far?
no idea.
Now you don't know anything.
Well, course I do. Of course I do.
Okay. You need to give her mother back to her.
He doesn't love her daughter because now she's left without a mother and she's about to be left without a father. And that kid is either going to go to a family member or be in the system. Like, that's really unfortunate. None of this was really called for. Like, they were already not together. It's their ex-husband, mind you. Like, it's a sad story.
Okay, I told you she's gonna need some type of stability. You're all she's got.
I don't even know
You are the only living parent that she has left.
Mm.
You need to show her. She's gonna grow up and say, my dad was something to my mom, and he left her out. Is that what you want your daughter to grow up thinking? Knowing? Then take me to her. You have to. Steven, you know.
I don't know. I don't.
The only reason you're not taking me there is because something else happened to her that night.
Mm-hmm.
After driving around aimlessly, the detectives had made no progress in finding Tricia. Stephen believed that he had evaded arrest once again and was free to go home. However, he was no longer in control because what he had forgotten is that the whole time he was explaining this, he had told the detectives that he left his daughter, Faith, at the house by herself. As a result, he was placed under arrest for child endangerment, which gave the detectives more time to continue interrogating him.
You're no point try to do CPR.
Call 911? Like, what? What are we talking about?
You go and put her in her car.
Yes, I can
Just
take
drop
her
her off.
home. Is what I thought. I can just take her home.
But you
out of
didn't.
my hair.
But you didn't. You
Because-
wanted her out of your hair, and you got it.
Because I didn't.
You got it, and I'm gonna prove it. There really is no emotion in there. There really is nothing in there for her, huh?
What are you talking about? I'm going
wanted
off
her
of what
gone.
you're saying. I wanted her to not be dead in my home. I wanted
You said
whatever
she
this
died in
was
the
to
car,
not be affecting me the
but
way
then
it
you
was.
said
Tom
she was breathing in the car.
Oh, we haven't met yet. What's your name? First thing I need you to get me over is you could tell them this initial version of events and leave out this whole, as you said multiple times, stupid laptop thing.
Because it was stupid and it didn't make sense.
Something doesn't make sense, it's generally not true. That doesn't look good. If I got up and I sat over there and you sat here, what would you think of me telling you that? Right?
Yeah.
You come back and Trisha's laying on the floor with an injury. You know, 911, boom, cops are there, ambulance, she gets treatment. And you did not do that, right? Do you have a conscience?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
And as she's laying in the back of the car, your conscience never kicked in and said, maybe she's still alive. Maybe I should take this opportunity to save a human life.
To save my wife, my mother, the kid. Yeah, exactly. Like,
So you're insinuating because I didn't think that I don't have a conscience?
No, I'm not insinuating. I'm saying it.
You're making it seem like I had this whole grand. I didn't have any plan.
No, it's
I didn't know any.
this was the most poorly executed murder in history.
I didn't murder her.
Okay.
Two separate detectives had attempted to extract a confession from Stephen, but both approaches had proven ineffective. The aggressive and hostile interrogation tactics had only caused Stephen to become more withdrawn. It was evident that a change in strategy was necessary. That's when Detective Dan Duliak entered the room. Dan had recently joined the department, and this marked his first significant involvement in a homicide case.
And he
All
caught
we
you.
do is try to set the stage so that you can actually tell the narrative about what actually happened, which is not that you planned all this. You know, it's maybe you guys got in an argument. Maybe it was over the computer. Maybe it was over the gas.
Because sitting here and telling you that she attacked me, that's just another different story that you're just going to be like, well, that's 5 different stories he's telling now. And that doesn't help either. So what do you want me to tell you? What do you want me to tell you, Dan?
I want you to tell me the truth. The truth is never anywhere near as bad as what people will believe if you let them come up with their own story.
I don't believe I hated her. I never hated her. I didn't
So
like her.
tell me, that story. I think you're a good guy. You're a family man. You're trying to do the best that you can.
To
okay?
save his
You were
ass.
there.
What you
I
talking
want
about?
you the opportunity to tell me what happened.
People's imaginations will run wild, and they will come up with the most horrific things.
I don't even know where. Just don't know. It just happened.
Talk to me about from midnight.
I never texted her otherwise. It was
Right.
already late. She had already left. I would have never texted
And
her.
you're a good dad.
That's it. That's all I was trying to do was just be a good dad. Just, okay, you want your mom? Fine. Like,
I'm not going to deny you that, you know? Talking about nonsense and bringing up child support and just more stupid stuff that I just, for the most part, tried to ignore. And then, yeah, there was a mix-up with the check, but that's not my fault because you told me this was your address. So, yeah, that's where I mailed it to. And then she's telling me that's not the mailing address. So, I'm like, that's not my fault. If you told me you moved, I did the responsible thing, and I made sure the check was going to go wherever you moved to if you're not at your mom's house. And then she's just going on and on and on. Now I owe her more money and back child support. It's just stupid. I was like, just let me have your account information. Just use the account number, and I'll direct deposit it, and this will never happen. And no, that's not going to work. You can't do that. You owe me all this money.
Oh, he's spilling the beans.
I don't know why you're so mad. I don't know if you took a freaking crazy pill on the way over here and that really pissed her off. And it just escalated. And then I just moved her away, and then she slipped. And that's when she freaking fell. Oh, shit. I asked her if she was okay. It was like a weird sound.
Thought you came back and she wasn't.
And then I freaking panicked. And then I just freaking panicked. And it just went so fast. And then I pushed her. And then it wouldn't push. I was trying to get her away. Just please stop yelling in my face. It's like, just, you know, like if she was at that instance, fine. But she wasn't. And I'm like, please just stop. And so I went to move her away, and she slipped, and she hit her head, and I didn't mean for that. That wasn't my freaking fault. I wasn't. And then all I'm thinking is, great. Now I've pushed her, and she's hurt her head, and I'm done. I'm just, everything I've tried to do, everything I've tried to be, is done because I've made a mistake.
He just admitted.
Lose my cool. I just tried to move her away. I just didn't.
He just admitted to doing the whole thing. He changed the whole story once again. And he just told the truth this time. He pushed her, she hit her head, and she died. And he took her body and freaked out. You just spilled the whole beans. This was saying you attract more bees with honey than vinegar, and this detective was being the Mr. Good guy, and this dude spilled all the beans.
The detectives had enough to charge him with murder, thanks to the evidence of their animosity, his numerous lies, and his recent confession.
Yep. You're cooked, buddy.
First, our top story, an arrest, as you heard, in the disappearance of that Hope Sound mom, Trisha Todd's ex-husband, charged with her murder.
Right now, the sheriff's office is focusing in on an area of the Treasure Coast for her body. Kelly Dunn begins our team coverage from their command post in Martin County.
That's right, Ashley and Michael. We are right off of Bridge Road, just west of I-95, where the sheriff's office has set up its command post. Sadly, they are on a search for remains of Trisha Todd. It was learned today that indeed she will never be coming home. She was murdered and her body was dumped.
Stephen had the entire thing planned out.
Kids
he had
left
previously
with no
bought a
parents.
chainsaw in North Carolina and acid, and had dug a hole in Hungryland Wildlife Reserve. Stephen said he had planned to kill Trisha in advance, but although he spent all day with her the day of the murder, he couldn't get up his nerve. Finally, Stephen told them he was determined to do it, and texted Trisha, their 2-year-old daughter who was spending the night with him in an Airbnb, was sick. When Trisha arrived, Stephen said he first tried to strangle her, but waited for her to regain consciousness so he could force her to reveal her email password and other information. Stephen said he planned to write fake emails to make Trisha's family think she had gone to Haiti on a mission trip. But when Trisha regained consciousness, Stephen said he beat her in the head with a club until she quietened. Then he choked her to death. Their daughter was sleeping in the next room. Stephen then took Trisha's body to a remote site in the Hungryland Preserve, where he had already dug a hole and readied a container with acid. It was there that he cut up her body with a chainsaw and buried her remains in an acid-filled container. He agreed to take them to her body in exchange for a 35-year plea deal that spared him the death penalty.
That's a wild case. That man, I don't even know what to say. You killed your wife, chopped her up with a chainsaw, and put her in an acid barrel, and you lied to the police and said that you came back to your house and she was dead. That is a crazy turn of events. Let me know what you guys think about this from down below. Let me know if you thought he did it from the beginning. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll go ahead and catch you on the next one.